Kevin LeBanc, stay out of the box for stupid penalties. Please. I love you.
LeBanc, he's turning the penalty box into an ATM.
I just...
Welcome in, Sharks fans, to episode 53 of the Pucknologists here on Teal Town, USA. Subscribe to us on SoundCloud, review us on iTunes, enjoy it on any podcast platform of your choice, and check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Teal Town, USA. As always, I'm the host, AJ Strong, and with me, Rocket Backhander.
Hey, 5 + 3 is 8. Woot woot.
That's what they tell me. And Hockey Jerk.
I don't have anything witty to say, so here I am.
There you are.
I'm surprised you didn't pick up the net and throw it at somebody.
It's queuing up. Don't worry.
All right, so since we last left you this week in Sharks hockey, we see that the boys go 3-2-0 over their last 5, currently sitting at 10-6-3, good for 23 points, and first in the division, third in the conference. And what did we see since we last left you? We saw 4 games, a horrendously bad 2-game road trip starting in Dallas where the Sharks would lose 4-3. Not the best way to celebrate Thornton playing his 1500th NHL game. The Sharks allow 3 or more goals yet again, and Joakim Ryan plays a whopping 5 minutes, 21 seconds, and is benched for the third. Hurdle remains out after being injured versus Philadelphia, and Kudobin does not throw the net at anyone. The Sharks would then follow up that loss in St. Louis. Dell gets the start. The world's okayest goalie, not so okay in this one, as the Sharks are shut out 4-0 in one of their worst, if not the worst, outings of the season. 33% in the circle, 0 for 4 on the power play. Tim Heed would slot in for Yoki Ryan on this one to get his first start, and Hurdle would remain out in this one. 4-0 loss. But things would get back to normal, just a scotch, when the boys returned back to SAP Center, starting with Calgary, picking up a 3-1 win to begin a 6-game homestand, as the line of Kane, Pavs, and Donskoy would account for all the goals. Kane bests Shark Killer Mike Smith 50 seconds into this one, and you already felt good just based on that. However, Logan Couture would get injured and miss the last 10 minutes of this one, but we did get Hurdle back, so nice surprise there. Then, finally, the Sharks would face the best team in the NHL in the Nashville Predators, and you would think that maybe the Predators would want a little revenge for that comeback loss thrown at them by the Sharks just last month, where it was that beautiful comeback where the Sharks won 5-4. Well, guess what? Deja vu all over again. Couture was a game-time decision, but he does get the start. The Sharks score the first 3 goals in the first period, then give up 3 goals in the second period, but give up a go-ahead goal less than 3 minutes into the third, come back and win on 2 goals from Pavs and Jumbo's 400th within 13 seconds. But alas, Hurdle would miss the last 23 minutes of this game, and no one's really sure why, so that's why they call it lower body injury. And with that, we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly of this week of San Jose Sharks ice hockey. And we start with you, Rocket. You're good for San Jose Sharks hockey over this week.
God, the good. Joe Thornton's 400th career goal. That was probably the best one.
That's it? Nothing else? I mean, I understand because, I mean, those 2 games were really, really bad.
They were bad. They were terrible. No, man, I was really nervous about Jumbo Joe coming back to the lineup, and I feel bad for saying it, because he's my age. So I'm like, team old people, after watching the way that the younger players kind of gelled together in his absence, I was nervous that they wouldn't be able to gel together with Jumbo Joe in the lineup. And I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I semi-lounged before you, confessing how wrong I was on this. Like, I am completely open to saying how wrong I was. I'm glad Joe Thornton is a Shark. He deserves to be on this team. And if he stays healthy and those knees stay bionic, hey, man, he's still a very, very dangerous person to have on your roster.
And it makes you wonder just how good those knees are feeling playing a little less hockey every game instead of 21, 22 minutes, 13, 14, 15. So, Jerk, you're good for Sharks hockey.
My good for Sharks hockey, not too far away from Rockets good, is Jumbo Joe's line mate, Marcus Sorensen. You know, the game against Nashville had a 3-point game. I want to say it was the game before Dallas against the Wild where he had a 3-point game as well. And, you know, we're starting to see Marcus Sorensen kind of break through and I don't want to say drive the line, but kind of be a big piece for the Sharks bottom six, kind of how we were hoping he would be 2 years ago and then how we were hoping he would be last year. And, you know, we're finally starting to see this. And I think, too, obviously playing with Joe Thornton and Kevin LeBanc obviously helps that, but it doesn't change the fact that Marcus Sorensen is playing a really good brand of hockey right now. And maybe the regular season does matter after all this time, but it's fun for me to watch because he's somebody, especially the three of us have all said, okay, when's he going to get going outside of the playoffs? When's he going to start to separate himself from the other bottom six guys? And I think we're starting to see that now, especially that he's playing with some pretty solid line mates on the third line.
Wow.
Now comes the bad. Looking at you, Eric Carlson. Still looking for your first goal as a Shark. Currently 8 points, half of which came on the power play. But at least I guess we're trying to say at least we're trending in the right direction because he got his first ever primary assist. All his other points were secondary assists. So at least we're just a little closer to getting him a goal. How about that? So that's the bad for me. I'd like to see more out of EK65, Rocket.
The bad for me, Kevin LeBanc, stay out of the box for stupid penalties. Please. I love you.
LeBanc, he's turning the penalty box into an ATM.
I just... I can't. It's always with the slashing or the high sticking or the tripping or just like the little crappy calls, and they're always like ticky-tacky and really sloppy. Stop.
Do me a favor. Stop. Hockey Jerk.
I'll see myself out.
Give me your bad.
My bad
is the amount of inside jokes we're using so far.
No. My bad is everybody who said that Joe Pavelski's career was over because your boy is on pace for 43 goals and looks like he's gotten some new life in those legs the last few games. So just want to say, suck it.
You know, as much as I kind of complained about Suomela and Donskoy being split up, seeing Pavs, Kane, and Donskoy together the other night was nice.
Those three just have some weird chemistry that's gelled together pretty much since Joe got hurt last year. And it's nice to see that it's still gelling because it allows Couture and Meyer and, Hurdle, God willing, stay together.
Now it's time for the ugly. Since going 2 for 3 on the power play at Carolina on October 26th, the Sharks are now 2 for 23 on the power play. Now, that only changed because of the game versus Nashville. Before that, 1 for 20 on the power play over an 8-game stretch. And fun fact, Joe Thornton returned game 2 of that stretch. I'm not blaming Joe Thornton for the power play. I'm just saying, fun fact. That's all it is. But the power play is fugly, Rocket. We must do something about this.
Hey, I think it's happening. The last time I watched this game, which was yesterday against Nashville, I think that you really can see the evolution of this system. They have tweaked some things, and they're starting to figure it out, I think. I think that it's something that, the 2 and 20 is bad. And I think they knew it was bad, but I do think that they are making steps in the right direction and that they are going to pay off very soon, if not have already.
I just want to see them crash more. That was working for them, Jerk. It was working.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but what can you do, right?
So what's your fugly for the week?
Oh, man, dude, it's getting fugly up in here.
Here we go.
No, my fugly is not so much Tomas Hertl, but it's those who are hurting Tomas Hertl because we need to, you guys, we need to protect him at all costs because he's gotten hurt on both ends of his body in the last 10 days and that's not okay because he very clearly has a chemistry with Logan Couture and Timo Meier, and thankfully the lower body injury that he suffered against Nashville is not related to his chronic knee injuries he's had in years past, but still, like, the dude is finally coming into his own as a, I don't want to say elite, but above average hockey player, and then just annoying stuff like this keeps happening. And so if you were one of the people who contributed to Tomas Hertl getting hurt, you are ugly and you should feel ugly.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where he comes out on the ice. I'm waiting for. I feel injured already.
Oh, wow.
Might as well just have him play. Might as well just have him play with those floaties
wrapped around his knees. Absolutely. So that is the good and the bad and the ugly for this week of Sharks hockey. So you know what time it is, kids. 3 stars of the week, or what we call.
Oh, good for you.
And Rocket, your star for this week.
My star for this week is still going to go to Brendan Dillon. I don't know why. I just feel like giving him a good... No, he's got a good game this year. And you know what? I think if he's the bottom of the defenseman, holy Mazzolians, we have a very solid blue line. Very solid. Very impressive. And the fact that they pair him with Erik Karlsson and that he doesn't...
Stink up the joint?
Yeah, you know, he does really well with, I think that says a lot about his game, that he can play with the new guys on the team and elevate their game, make them play a little stronger. And he can also play right alongside elite status guys like, you know, Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson and not look like he's getting pyloned. So, I mean, he's an adaptable guy. I'm just in love with his game. Brendan Dillon, star of the week.
I can see that. Guys had a little sandpaper in his game the last few. Jerk, your star for the week.
My star for the week and my star for this lifetime is Mr. 400 Jumbo Joe Thornton. I mean, what is there not to say? Dude's a legend, sweet beard. Yeah, it's for the boys. But you know what? He's come back despite these injuries and is making an impact despite all of our early concerns. And thing is, he's not even racking up all of the assists. Like, he's scoring goals. I believe the term for where he likes to score, according to Joe Pavelski, is top titty 2x4. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say, I'm 100% down with the Jumbo Joe that shoots the puck, because we've seen you get him in that left faceoff dot and he doesn't even really shoot it that hard, but it just goes to the same place every time. And I, for one, am down with it. So Jumbo Joe, star for the week, star for the life.
And my star for this week, you heard Jerk mention him earlier. I loves me some Marcus Sorensen. I'm just saying, this kid really, I feel like he's starting to put it together more and more. He's really kind of throwing it out that it's like, yeah, when you put me out there with quality guys, I'm going to do even better. And because I liked him with Suomela and Donskoy. I really like him with Thornton. So, Sorensen, you are my star for the week. And if you were named one of our stars...
Oh, good for you!
So, let's get into Shark Bites. A week has gone by and no coach has been fired.
Not yet.
Not yet. I don't know if you followed the Teal Town USA Instagram, but we did get a screen cap of Joel Quenneville's phone during the St. Louis game where Doug Wilson said, "You up?" So, who is the next coach you think is going to be gone? I keep looking at Todd McClellan. When you've got the best player in the league and you lose 4 straight and you can't get it together. Now, granted, Connor McJesus is just one player, but what do you think?
Stop. He's already dead. You know what?
Hold on. I think. Oh, wait. We actually have some audio. We have sound of Todd McClellan talking to Connor McDavid.
You are reckless.
There you go. Okay.
Jesus.
No, it's McDavid.
Huh?
Jerk said, "Oh Jesus!" I said, "No, it's McDavid."
Oh.
It's pronounced McDavid.
He prefers his government name.
Oh, wow.
So you know what, Todd McClellan, I could see be on the hot seat. Just like you said, AJ. I mean, Edmonton's struggles to win games. You're right; they do have the best player in the world, but at the same time, $100 bill with crap piled onto it still has crap piled onto it.
Yeah, but it's still worth $100.
Yeah. See, I think the analogy where you were going for was you can polish a turd all day; it's still a turd.
Yeah.
Well, oranges and apples, whatever.
I'm so lost.
But
It's like lemons and clementines. What are you gonna do?
And you know what? Peanut butter and jelly. Who cares? But as for other coaches, I mean, I kind of was thinking if if the Sharks had a sub 500 record on this homestand, DeBoer could be on the outs. That was just my little tinfoil hat conspiracy. But
I mean, I can see that because isn't he in the final year of his 4-year? I mean, was it a 4-year deal? Was it a 5-year deal?
It was a 4-year deal starting with the Cup year.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, the thing is, when you have probably the best decor in the league, there's no excuse.
I feel that. I mean,
defense wins you championships.
Thank you, Gen X.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, raise your hand if you thought Columbus was going to win, the Metro. I'm just saying.
Why is that so crazy?
I don't know. Well, see, now when you say why is that so crazy, I just think about all the times you said that, hey, watch out for Arizona.
Dude, why?
Watch out for Arizona.
Watch out for Arizona.
Okay. And speaking of
One
which,
of these years he's going to be right,
it's right.
Yeah.
And then you can't make fun of him after that.
It's gonna be when I'm in my 90s and you guys are gonna be like, dude, we don't do the podcast anymore. Shut up.
Well, no, I think it's gonna be like 5 years from now. We're gonna be like, we can't watch out for Arizona anymore because they play in Houston now. They're not in the Pacific Division anymore, bro. But speaking of the Pacific Division, it stays ultra tight. 6 points separates 1 through 6.
Oof.
It's going to be fun to see. Again, we get back to lifting and separating. I want to see the separation from this. I want to see some of these teams, specifically LA, fade away.
Free falling.
No, they are so fire sailing. That entire roster, they are so ready for the rebuild.
Oh, I mean, a 3-game losing streak. They've won 1 game on the road. God love you, but holy hell, this is fun to watch. But it goes back to something that I think we bandied about last show was teams that have the slow descent and then the ones that drive off the cliff. Remember, LA won a couple cups this decade, one of which happened just 4 years ago. They still have Drew Doughty. They still have Anze Kopitar. I guess they don't have Quick right now.
You know who do they have right now?
At this point, I would say the drummer for Spinal Tap, because about the same amount of job security between the LA goalie and the drummer for Spinal Tap.
Oh, are you trying to say that Peter Boudet is gonna choke on someone else's vomit?
No, I'm saying Peter Boudet is gonna single-handedly drag that dead carcass to a wild card spot. That's what I'm saying.
Man, I would not be upset at this point. Look, at this point in the season, as long as nobody takes out Tomas Hertl's knees or anything, hey, man, yeah, I'd like to see that happen. But then, I would like to see all their dreams and hopes destroyed. But,
think about it like this. If LA makes the wild card this year, it just means the Sharks are going to have an easy win in the first round.
And if they fail to play the song, I'm going to be so upset. Buddha, 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 rockin' everywhere. So we'll move on. Anything else around the league? Because I know Jerk is a deep diver. He watches him some Kuda. He's watched like Swedish hockey at 3 a.m. So, I mean, jerk, what else is going on?
Well, the free fall in LA Kings, they traded Tanner Pearson today being the 14th of November.
And I heard that there might be more between them and Pittsburgh, but go on.
Well, Pittsburgh has this knack where they will take a guy who's struggling and give up
make him a world beater.
Give up like a fourth for him, and then he comes around and is all of a sudden better at hockey. Like, and all joking aside, like Mikhail Bodker would probably hit 20 if he went to the Penguins. And
I hate you.
But it's a very interesting. It's an interesting move because with Pearson, I mean, he's underperforming based on what his contract dictates, but the dude's 26 years old. That's not the end for him. There's more there.
Honestly, do you think this was a move to like placate the fans, like a move just to say they did a move?
No, this is a cap hit. This is a cap move.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing that confuses me is I've been very complimentary of Rob Blake as a GM, but if you're trading a guy like Pearson, get a B- prospect, get a mid-level draft pick. Don't trade for a pending UFA who's arguably worse than the asset you're giving up.
That's why I think that they've just like thrown the anchor straight through the hull, man, and they are trying as hard as they can, as quickly as they can, to sink the ship. They're tanking.
Mother Russia is not going to be happy with Ilya Kovalchuk.
But he's leading. He's leading the
shout out to those who said I was wrong about Ilya Kovalchuk. Hey, what's up? Hello.
Why? What did you say?
Yeah.
I said
explain yourself. Show your work.
I said 2 years ago that he could come back to the NHL and would still be a dominant above average player, and nobody believed me.
But would he be a dominant above average player on any other roster but
Pittsburgh?
The worst roster in the NHL.
Pittsburgh.
The argument could be made that if he was on a better team, he would be better because he would be playing with better players.
I don't know.
Hello, Marcus Sorensen. I'm just saying, you put a guy with better players, look what happens. Who was the guy that we were talking about just a couple of years ago saying, he gets dumped on too much as not being very good, but you look at the guys he's having to drag around. Oh, was that Chris Tierney when he was having to like drag around Mike Brown and John Scott?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Point made. You put some good. See, we're talking about Joe Thornton, that he has a habit of making, bringing the best out of people. Remember, there was a guy named Nils Ekman that had like a career year because he was, next to Joe Thornton. Mark Smith played some of his best hockey next to Joe Thornton. Jonathan Chichu won a Richard Trophy largely because of Joe Thornton.
Joe Pavelski hit 40 goals for the first time.
Hey, I'm an amazing hockey player because of Joe, and I don't even play hockey. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Somebody else, kind of like you were saying, AJ, that we dumped on, but probably should have gotten to play with better players. I was always very defensive of Tyler Kennedy, Like, I wanted to see him with better players because he could play on the worst line, and his advanced analytics would make him out to be like the best player on the team.
He's in broadcasting now, isn't he?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I just, TK, I don't know. I was never sold on that. I think one of the reasons why I was never sold on him is because of the way he was sold to the fan base. Because there was a time there that it seemed like Doug Wilson's go-to defense of any move that he made, or any acquisition, I should say, was he's got a Stanley Cup ring, and there was a lot of, the Tyler Kennedy, he's got a ring. Well,
Miami, he's got a ring.
Exactly. And
Martin Jones, he's got a ring.
Martin Jones has a ring.
Right.
He played a third period when LA won their second cup.
So yeah, this is what I'm saying. So every time I would hear that they have a cup, I would just so much facepalm when I'd go, what does that possibly matter? It really doesn't in the big scheme of things. And sometimes you could even use the argument of, well, then maybe they're not as hungry as a guy who doesn't have a ring. But when it comes to Tyler Kennedy, the only thing I could say is he had a nose for hockey.
You guys are terrible. He was one of my favorite players because like he was on the roster when I very, very first started watching the Sharks, and like when I would go to the games and the tank was deserted and I could just sit wherever I wanted. I mean, I sat in my assigned seat. I always did. I always paid attention to the rules and regulations and followed them like a good person.
And even in 208 row 17, you could still see where he was because of that big beak on him.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah,
like
what
you could see him get off the bench and charge down the ice, and he was one of the first people who I could recognize by their face. And I was like, "Hey, it's Kennedy!" Yeah. So I always will remember him and Teal for that. But other than that, I had no idea who he was.
It was always awesome to like look at the score sheet and you see like time on ice, Kennedy 10:20, Tyler Kennedy's nose 15:08.
Jeez.
I would have liked. I think too a big reason for Tyler Kennedy's downfall was playing under Todd McClellan. I think, and I mean, I don't know. This is just, I don't know. Just McClellan. You know, we talk about Barclay Goodrow kicking DeBoer's dog and Matt Nieto kicking DeBoer's dog. I think Tyler Kennedy kicked McClellan's dog hard because every time, especially his last year with the Sharks, anytime he was fortunate enough to get in the lineup, he made an impact. And then, you know, T-Mac turns around and is like, well, you know, last time we played LA, Mike Brown threw a hit and really got the fans going. So we need to do that again. And maybe that's why they totally mutually agreed that he should be fired.
You think it was a case that maybe McClellan and or DeBoer just were not aware of the fact that Matt Nieto, he's from Long Beach, California.
Oh my God. I really thought you were going to actually like say something about his skill as a hockey player. Also in League/Sharks news, Paul Martin announced his retirement today.
That is true. Uh-oh, let's get our burrito on, Rock.
Yeah, hey, Paul Martin, if you're listening, now that you have all this extra free time, why don't you and I go down to Lovix and get a burrito, you know? Maybe a cerveza. Nothing major, just a burrito. That's all.
Nothing you have to commit to except orange sauce.
No, I'm a green sauce person.
Oh.
I'm like one of the 12 people in the entire city of San Jose who's not really into orange sauce.
Hey, we are the 12 over here.
Yay!
And I feel like we've gone down a rabbit hole yet again.
You were asking me about the NHL, and now we're talking about sauce.
Yeah.
I mean,
sauce pass.
I don't know. Things, I mean, scoring is up. That's always fun. Guys who don't normally have their name in the conversation for like top players in the league is anybody, I actually didn't know this until just now when I looked it up. The leading scorer in the NHL right now, Mikko Rantanen.
See, I'm waiting for the hashtag could have had.
Oh, absolutely could have had. Picked one pick after Timo Meier, but it's fine.
It's cool.
But I mean, how many years has it been? Oh, Crosby, McDavid, Stamkos, Ovechkin. No, it's for me. I like seeing guys who aren't talked about a whole lot making impacts. You know what I mean?
I'll give you a name that you don't hear that you didn't hear a lot until this season. Can I give you one? David Pastrnak.
Yeah, right. He's 4 away from 20, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
This is what I'm saying. So it's just, whoa, where'd that come from? And then you look at the leaderboard again, as Jerk likes to say, look out for Arizona. You know, despite them being as bad as they are, they've got the league's #1 PK. I mean, it's like
unsustainable.
Yeah, unsustainable, but something to hang your hat on. At least, hey, you can build off that. But let me just, before we move on to what the Sharks have coming up, what season are you taking more enjoyment from this year? Las Vegas or Los Angeles? Rocket?
I'm going to say this really quietly because I live with a Kings fan. I'm really, really glad that Los Angeles is having such a crap year. It's enjoyable for me.
Oh, and Jerk, how about you seeing, I mean, really, was it just like James Neal just has to play in the Sun Belt? Like he just can't, I mean, what's happening?
Well, I for one, am enjoying watching Los Angeles, and I'll tell you why. We all expected them to be bad this year. And hold on.
I don't know about that. Okay, go ahead.
And they are bad.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I'm enjoying is their reactions to them being bad. Because the thing with Vegas, we knew
They're
Vegas
about one game away from taking an Uber somewhere. I'm just
they're gonna lock Willie Desjardins out. But like with Vegas, like they're obviously not going to be as good as last year. Like we all knew that, and that's happening. But you know, they're still going about their business. They're making do with what they have. But you know, like we talked about earlier with Los Angeles, trading away a young player for an older player with less cap certainty and you know less of a potential impact. And I mean, I for one am 100% down with overreactions, but I just want to know where Ellie is going to go next. And you know, Rocket and I, we follow a Kings fan. Shout out to Ryan, and you know that poor guy.
Oh. Yeah.
But in terms of divisional standings, everybody keep losing. Sharks #1.
No, I just like, you know, LA 3-game losing streak, Vegas 3-game losing streak. Like this is just fun for me to watch. But LA already has their 2 cups, and you kind of expect a little, you know, to sustain that kind of success when you're not Pittsburgh is tough to do. So I look at Vegas just because of the hubris that team, well, that's not the team. I don't want to speak out of turn. Some of the Vegas fans, there were certain Vegas fans last season who were very thankful, very just, oh my God, this is like the best thing that ever happened to me, that not only do I finally get a professional team where I live, but it's a team that you can really get behind because they're just doing the unbelievable, the unreal, the unexpected. And there was a different set of Vegas fans that had an awful lot of hubris, that talked an awful lot of smack for just getting their foot into the NHL door. And to those people, I say, welcome to the NHL regular season. Like, this is what it's normally like. What you went through last year, yeah, that's like Haley's Comet, okay? This is the season you're going to get used to. So the Sharks, you know, in their first 3 years, they had a ridiculous playoff run. And it didn't last nearly as long as Vegas's did last season, but it did bring San Jose together. Well, let's see in 5 years where Vegas is, especially if they miss the playoffs 3 out of those 5 years, especially if they're 3 consecutive years. Just saying. But good luck, Vegas.
Guys getting career highs with abnormally high shooting percentages aren't doing that again. Who would have thought? William Karlsson with only 4 goals in 20 games. What? I mean, I don't want it to sound like we're just, you know, we got the biggest you know what in the room. Like, Vegas definitely has some good pieces, but at the same time, the pieces that were playing way over their heads last year, they're probably back down to, you know, where they were expected.
And they lost some pieces, right? I mean, James Neal, Perron. I mean, there's some.
Oh, God.
I'm just saying, but you know, not the same team as last season. So
absolutely. Nate Schmidt being suspended for 20 games doesn't help.
So let's take a look at what the Sharks have coming up.
Have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
And we are going to reach around that schedule coming up for the Sharks. And you knew it was coming. The return of number 12, Patrick Marleau, because the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1 over their last 5 games are coming in to the tank. I'm already setting the over-under at Marleau ovation part 2 at 30 seconds. But what is going to happen more? Applause every time Marleau touches the puck, or ridiculous boos every time Tavares touches the puck, Rocket?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to care. Like, Leafs
and you would be wrong.
No, Leafs fans are going to cheer, and they're going to be like, they should have never, and then like people who are Sharks fans will be like, they should have never traded Marleau. Patty would have never left this team. And those are the people who are going to be applauding Patrick Marleau. Everybody else is just going to be watching the game.
See, I feel like, Jerk, do you remember the Brian Campbell era?
Of course.
And every time he came back, he was just relentless boos. I think Tavares is going to get a scotch of that treatment.
Maybe a pocket of boos, but I don't think it's going to be like it was for Brian Campbell. Because with Brian Campbell, he was like, "Oh, San Jose's great. We got."
He was here and he spurned the city, whereas Tavares never made it here.
And that's the thing, is Tavares never publicly said that he was leaning towards San Jose. He liked San Jose. Never. I don't even think he ever said San Jose or any of the cities he met with by name. He just said,
"Where's San Jose?"
Yeah, is that near San Francisco?
I want to play in Florida.
I'll tell you.
Hold on, is San Jose, is that like near Long Beach? I heard there's some guy that plays hockey there.
I'll tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. John Tavares and Patrick Marleau are going to take the ice together, whether they're on the same line or power play unit, whatever. They're going to take the ice together, and the Guadalupe River is going to flood for the second time in history from all of the tears that are shed.
I'm telling you, I really, and I know that TV probably won't, but I really think it would be fun if they televised when Danny Miller announces the opening line for the Maple Leafs, because I guarantee you it's going to be, number 12, Patrick Marleau, and then John Tavares. No, I think there's going to be a lot of booze. I don't know. We shall see. That's just me predicting. Let's move on. We get to see St. Louis again. Now, so this is kind of fun, because now the Sharks get a crack at a team that shut them out just 4 games earlier. And another #fun fact, this is going to be the 100th all-time meeting between these two teams. And there were some great playoff series in early 2000s between the Sharks and the Blues. And, of course, the first thing that comes to mind, if you've got YouTube handy, just Google, I don't know, I want to say Mark Bergevin own goal. Okay?
Oh.
Mark Bergevin own goal is one of the funniest things. And you also take into account during that playoff run in 2000, there was the Mark Bergevin own goal. There was Owen Nolan scoring with like 5 seconds left from center ice. Well, oh God, what was that goalie's name?
Turek.
Yeah, Roman Turek. Just had a knuckleball launched at him from center ice. And when you saw that go in, like every Sharks fan was just kind of like, oh yeah, we got this. But the fact that Chris Pronger was constantly complaining to the officials, to the point where people were hanging banners inside the Shark Tank that just said bigwhinydefenseman.com. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because you have to realize, at that point it's 2000. The internet is just starting to, it's kind of a toddler right then. So it was like literally everything had .com at the end of it. So you just see this big whiny. And what was really funny about it is it looked as if it was like printed on that paper that, had the little, the holes on the side where it was like a dot matrix printer. Yeah. So, some poor guy has to sit there with a dot matrix printer. And this is easily like a 20-foot thing that just says bigwhinydefenseman.com. It literally covered like the wall of an entire section in like 124. It was great. Anyway, the Sharks get a crack at that team that just shut them out. And then, as we spoke about earlier, we get our first look at Edmonton, who are currently 500, 5-5 and 500. I mean, they are literally playing the most even, blandest form of hockey right now. So what are you looking forward to, Rocket, over these 3 games versus Toronto and St. Louis and Edmonton? You know me, I'm all about the power play. I want to see special teams put it together. But what are you looking for over these 3?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the bottom 6 chemistry develop and continue to get stronger and harden like epoxy grout. You know, like I just cannot wait to see what else they can do. I mean, it's not even Christmas yet. And I remember last year we had a really difficult time getting any kind of offense sparked in the beginning of the season. It was like just dry. Goals were dry, hard to find. And it feels like this year there's a lot more magic between different combinations of guys on the line. And I'm excited for that. I want to watch that.
What word makes you feel more uncomfortable? Grout or moist?
I would say that moist grout. That phrase makes me the most uncomfortable.
Good choice. Good choice. Jerk, what you're looking for in the next 3?
There's a couple things I'm looking for. I'm looking for Martin Jones to play like an above average goalie for once.
Well, come on. You did. I mean, you take out the second period versus Nashville. He looked great.
I'm looking for Erik Karlsson to get his first goal. And, like Rocket said, I want the bottom 6 to just keep her going because we know that the top guys are going to dry up eventually. It would be nice to have that next line, as they say, next man up kind of mentality, Oh, Timo Meier hasn't scored a goal in 4 games. Well, here comes Marcus Sorensen to have another 3-point night.
Or Suomela, or, Goodrow, or somebody to jump. Basically, what you're telling me for the bottoms.
Karlsson.
Well, yeah, it would be nice to see Melker Karlsson do. I can't remember on what show I was on at the time, but I remember saying, at this point, or where we are right now, Melker Karlsson is pointless. And then I had to clarify. I mean, he hasn't scored a point. Not that he's shouldn't be on this planet. I like what you said about the bottom 6, and I agree because
way to keep doing whatever it is you're doing.
And with that, we will go to our final thoughts on whether people can find you on the social media, and we will start with you, Rocket Backhander.
My name is Rocket Backhander, and I feel safer already. You can find me on Twitter talking about hockey, complaining about stuff here in Nashville, and laughing at people who aren't Sharks fans. That's a capital R, capital B, little Aghander 76. That's R Backhander 76 on Twitter. And if you like the visual representation of social media a little bit better than you do the written version, you can check me out on Instagram, Rocket Backhander, one word. Lots of photographs of fun stuff around here in Nashville and all of the cool Teal stuff that I end up purchasing because I have a spending problem. I do. Jerk.
Okay, final thoughts. Well, the Anaheim Ducks are losing to the Vegas Golden Knights 4-0, which bothers me because John Gibson needs your help, Anaheim Ducks players. He can't do it all. Now, I know this sounds weird talking about a division rival, but you know what? If liking a certain guy on a team that is a rival of your team is bad, well, then you know what? Tweet me that I'm bad. You can do that at hockey_jerk on Twitter and nowhere else.
And I am AJ Strong. My final thought is, well, more of a final question. At the end of the 2018-2019 season, what is there going to be more of? Pucks in the net from Ryan Getzlaf or hairs on Ryan Getzlaf's head? I think that is something that you could debate in Vegas, and you could take the under on everything. So with that, AJ_Strong on the Twitter, on the gram, also throwing up some Grammys. I feel like Instagram missed something there. There needs to be a trademark. But anyway, there's also going to be some photos on the Teal Town USA Instagram. Follow Teal Town USA on Twitter. All the social media channels. Again, subscribe to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, whatever podcast catcher you use. All the cool kids are doing it, Rocket. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Teal Town USA, all right? So with that, that's 53 guys in the book. Pavelski's rookie number. And with that, we're out of here. We will catch you for 54 next week. All right? Bye.